Dipelta yunnanensis. This is a beautiful tree in the honeysuckle family. It's more of a large shrub for many, many years, but after 40, 50, 60 years, you'll get a plant like this, which is closer to 6 or 8 metres high. But you've got to also remember you're in the Dandenong Ranges, and this is a high 50 to 60 inch rainfall here where this plant's growing in the garden, and so therefore you need to be mindful that it's going to be more shrub-like in most conditions. So Linnaea yunnanensis, or what was previously Dipelta yunnanensis, beautiful clusters of these pink flowers. If we get up a little bit closer, you can sort of see they've got a little bit of colour in the throat of the flower. I'll get up a little bit closer again, almost like a dusting of cinnamon orangey sort of colour just in the throat, and just a blush, very softest blush pink through the white, and then on the inner sepals or petals pink, and on the reverse of the petals you can see there's like a little bit of blush pink, and also some veining, which is, if I can just hold this steady for a second, you can see it's got that little bit of cinnamony sort of look coming through. Yeah, there we go, get this in focus, sorry about this. So yeah, most of the colours on the interior of the flower, but you can see that's coming through a little bit because of the deepness of the colour on the inside, but it's also got that little bit of a pink blush on the outside. Really nice foliage, really lush green foliage, and a plant that's native or endemic to China, Myanmar, like Western China, like places like Yunnan, and it goes up into Tibet as well. So it comes from like the central part, like one of the most diverse botanically areas in the world, and certainly is an absolute gem of a plant. It's notoriously hard to propagate. I've sort of seemed to have got a knack for doing a few of them every year now, but they can be particularly difficult, and they can vary from season to season, so not a pushover to propagate, unfortunately, hence why they're probably not more popular, because I think as a blossoming large shrub, small tree, it ticks a lot of boxes. Up in the hills here, it can grow in full sun in an area like this. I wouldn't put it in a particularly hot, dry, north-facing aspect, but it will take the overhead sun through most of the day once it's established. The first 2 or 3 years you might just give a little bit of protection, but once they get their roots down, they're established, they'll self-protect the roots and keep the roots cool as the canopy gets larger. And like I said, this plant's somewhat around 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 metres potentially. I don't know, I'm taking a little bit of a guess, but it wouldn't be any more than that. And it's sort of got nice open round habit, masses of flowers, and not particularly hard to grow once it is propagated, but I wouldn't grow it in a hot, dry location or arid locations. You've got to grow this in a high rainfall area, or alternatively in an area where you're going to give equitable deep summer and spring watering as required, as we've been tested in the last 12 months here. What are we? November 2025 now, so with that previous year of dry autumn and summer heat tidied up a lot of things that were a bit touchy. But I found that this plant, even up here where there's been little rainfall until after autumn this last year, this plant never had any setback at all, but it is in a high rainfall area that still gets, even in a dry period, still gets a lot more rain than a lot of areas. So a really worthwhile plant, and bee attracting, and a beautiful specimen for your garden. If I was down in town, outside of like Gippsland or the Dandenong Ranges where we are, if I was in Melbourne or somewhere where it's a bit hotter, or potentially drier, I'd put it in a morning sun position and give it a bit of shelter from 11 or 12 o'clock or later in the afternoon, but it will take the morning sun no problem. It's not particularly hard to grow once it's established, and if you do have one of those hot, dry periods, just make sure you give it a good deep spring or summer watering as required. But an unknown sort of plant in Australia. It's around in sort of horticultural or plant people's like collectors circles. People talk about this plant, but it is largely unknown and only in a few gardens. But I'm hoping to change that, because I think this is a really, really wonderful plant.